From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, what does an A-plus performance from the football program's two most maligned segments look like versus Alabama? Who's the most exciting freshman of all time? And we're generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it, everybody. One little bottle, 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine, vitamins and nutrients. In my hand today, what should I pick up? I've got like this roulette table almost, Corey, of options I can pick from. I've got obviously the Focus Plus Tropical Infusion flavor. Always got the Sour Apple Vitamin Energy Workout Plus. Also the Workout Plus in the berry flavored. Shoot, I even have the 8-hour sleep here, but in my hand right now is the Immune Plus Tango Orange undefeated favorite flavor. I shouldn't say by far because the Blue Raspberry and the Focus Plus, as well as the Sour Apple, are also favorites of mine. But they all do great things because of the different vitamins and nutrients, helping you accomplish the goals you want to accomplish so you can be at the top of your game. Give it a try. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Sip the juice. Warchant.com. Meanwhile, the reigning ultimate Seminole sports source. Kids, students, adolescents. Not adolescents. They're young men and women.
Yep.
If you're a student at Florida State, email support@warchant.com from your fsu.edu email address. And I think within a week we'll get back to you and we'll give you instructions and information on how you can now redeem a whole 1-year membership at warchant.com. You don't need to give us a credit card or anything like that. Just email us from your fsu.edu email address and the wheels will be put in motion. And when I say we, email support@warchant.com. I've gotten a couple emails, Corey, to me. And I'm like, let me send you over to this department. But take advantage of it, guys and gals, so you don't have to keep bothering your one friend and doing the shared login, which is frowned upon, highly frowned upon, the shared login. But we're not going to be like Netflix and change everything. That was about 2 minutes of me talking, Corey. You got anything to say to start us off today? How are you, man? Are you excited for this upcoming weekend? Although we got another show to do after this one as well.
I mean, yeah, I guess. It'll be cool to see. It should be a cool atmosphere, getting to play Oregon State. I don't think Florida State's ever played Oregon State.
They've never played in the state of Oregon.
Oh, well, there you go. So we're all going to get to see history. So that means they never lost in the state of Oregon, Aslan, is what that means.
I like it.
They've never been to Oregon and then not ended up winning the College World Series.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this might be the trail. This might be the trek that they've been waiting on, to go all the way to the farthest reaches of the continent and then have to go back to Omaha and win that way. They've tried all the other routes, going to Omaha through Tallahassee, through Baton Rouge, through Stanford, through all types of cities. They've never gone to Omaha from Portland, Oregon, or I guess Corvallis, but I assume you fly into Portland
Yeah,
to get to
sure.
Corvallis. So, yeah, maybe that'll be what they need.
Small request to the team, as y'all are listening to this on your transcontinental flight. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's not to the team, just to the gods out there. Don't put this team in the championship series in Omaha unless they're going to win it. I don't know if my heart can take them making it that close, right? Like, it's one thing they've been getting to Omaha, whatever, like 5 times in the last 12 years or so, or 4 times. But, like, they've never gotten to the championships. Like, imagine if they actually got to the championship series and then couldn't finish the drill. They'd be like, why must it be so painful, this journey of ours as fans? But I don't know. What do you think, Corey? Do you think the next time Florida State makes a championship series in Omaha, they will win the national championship?
I mean, no. Why would I, Aslan? I'm a cynic by nature. You know, I'm a glass half empty kind of guy. So I would always assume the worst. That not only would they make the championship series, they would win the first game.
Oh no!
And then be up 8-1 in the fifth in the second game.
Stop.
I mean, hey man, it's been 40 years of great baseball with heartbreaking results at the end. Last year wasn't the end for last year. Wasn't heartbreaking. The final loss. It was that first loss in Omaha. That's just a heartbreaker. Yeah. And it just feels like until they can exercise those demons, which means they need to lose the first game in Omaha. They need to lose the first game of the championship series, get down 8-1 in the second game, and that's how they're going to win the national championship. Just like the Red Sox, it took them getting down 3-0 to the Yankees. That's what has to happen for Florida State.
Down to our last out and all that stuff. We'll be talking more about baseball in the show, but let's go to our other favorite pastime, the nation's true pastime now, and that is football and college football right behind the pro level. We go to our guy, C_Swizzle8. Wake up, gents. I was listening to the wildly popular Jeff Cameron show on Monday. I heard Jeff Cameron and Tom Lane joke around about using a jingle for their top 40 most impactful players in 2025 and how it could potentially be a bit on the show. I thought, hey, I know a podcast that's got one of those for their top 40. Maybe they'd be willing to share. I'm going to try to figure this out, Corey, but I think you might be talking about this. Corey and Aslan?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right,
that's what our guy was talking about.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Here's a question. If the offensive line and linebackers have an A-plus game against Alabama, what do you think the stat line for offense would be? How many points do you think Alabama would score against us? And do you think it would equate to a win? Also, I guess on the reverse side of that, what would, in your eyes, be an A-plus effort from those units? Stats, scores, things like that. I guess let's start at the first part. Offensive line.
I want 41 pancake blocks. I want 21 just straight-up decleaters where the guys just get knocked on their butt and you don't even lay on them. You just knock them over and keep going. I don't. The offensive line.
Like what, 165 yards rushing, including sack yardage?
No, they need to run. They need to run for over 200 yards. That's A+ against Alabama. Again, I know it's Alabama, gang. This ain't 2019. Alabama's very good. Clearly, they have talent. They are not unbeatable, and they certainly aren't unblockable. You've got a bunch of 23-year-olds, and you've got Gus Malzahn, who was not afraid in any way, shape, or form of that uniform on the other side. I don't know about the head coach, but I know Herb Hand and Gus Malzahn are not. They are not overwhelmed by it. They are not scared of it. And I think when you have 20, and the Gunnar Hansen ain't scared of it. Pettis ain't scared of it. They played against it. So I just think, I don't know what an A+, I don't know how you quantify an A+ effort with an offensive line, but I expect them to run for 200 yards. And if you run for 200 yards, you have a chance. I don't know if that means an A+ performance or not, because what if Castellanos gets sacked 5 times? In some of those, he just has no chance. But I just expect them to be able to run the ball against everybody they play.
Vanderbilt, for all their might, ran for 166 yards on them.
I wouldn't say Vanderbilt for all their might.
Well, I think when people think about that game last year, they think about Vanderbilt imposing their will on Alabama and keeping the ball away from them. So it's like, well, man, they ran for 166. So, absolutely 200, that would be A+, but, an A+ can technically be like, 95 to 100 on a grading scale. So 200 yards is like the 100, or actually maybe that'd be like 300 yards. Like, what's like the lowest? Is 200? That's like the bottom number for you? If they ran for 195, we wouldn't be looking back on this game on the Monday podcast, and you want to be like A+ effort from the offensive line.
Well, it depends. Yeah, when you because college football is so dumb and they count the sack yardage. If you take away the sack yardage and they've run for 195 on like 45 carries, yeah, man. I do think the competition matters, and I'm not trying to dismiss Alabama's talent. That will probably be the best or the second best defensive line Florida State faces. Our most talented defense. So if you're running in the neighborhood of 200 yards and averaging 5 yards a carry, especially compared to last year and what that was, I think you would absolutely give an A there. And I think more importantly than winning the game, which is obviously the most important thing, so never mind, second most importantly to that is if you run for that kind of, if you put up those kind of numbers, then doesn't that just, no matter if you end up losing 37-20, if you've run for 200 yards against Alabama, that bodes well for the rest of the season.
Oh,
that is
sure.
something to build on. That is something to build upon, and that should give you confidence moving forward. Maybe not that you're going to beat good teams because you just lost by 20 points, but that you can run on anybody. And that was what was so comforting about the 2021 team, and really the 22 team. I think they ran on everyone not named NC State, is that you knew you could run the ball. In that game, you go into every game with a chance because you're not always going to be 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 11 because you have a ground game. You have a ground game that can run on anyone, and that is such a comfort blanket. And so, yeah,
security blanket.
I call them comfort. I call them comfort. I call them comfort dogs. We can all use our own words, folks. They comfort me.
You're right.
So I think that's what I'll be looking for. I don't know that I'll grade it an A+, but that's what I'm looking for, man. Look like an offense. I don't think Alabama is unblockable, and they aren't. This isn't a Saban team, and you have a bunch of 23-year-olds. And you have a good offensive coordinator and an offensive line coach that's done it at a pretty high level for a good long while. So that should be a recipe to be able to move people out of the way.
We'll see, man. Week 1 and, whatever, you probably, all the practices you guys have had together, they've only been practicing together, those 5, for like 60% of them. Although, granted, all of them are going to be at least in preseason camp, which is probably more important than spring, but you didn't have all 5 of those guys playing every rep side by side with each other through the spring. Looking back at last year, by the way, real quick, Corey, before we get to the defensive part of the coin here, 3 teams ran for 200 or more yards against Alabama. Alabama was 1-2 in those games. They beat South Florida. South Florida ran for 206. Tennessee ran for 214. Oklahoma, Gavin Sawchuk, I don't think was part of the effort, though. Ran for 257.
But you know who was part of the effort in that Oklahoma game was the quarterback. I don't remember how many yards he rushed for, but I feel like his legs were the key to everything. And if you haven't forgotten, Florida State has a quarterback that has some pretty nice legs. And I don't mean that like – I'm sure he does
Xavier
have nice
Robinson
legs.
Ran for 107 yards.
Yeah, but who's their quarterback? Wasn't it Arnold?
Oh, yeah, he was their quarterback. Oh, my gosh. I thought Jackson Arnold got benched by then. Yeah, Jackson Arnold ran the ball 25 times for 131 yards.
There you go. There's your recipe, folks. But I will say this to amend my earlier statement. If it's Castellanos that's got like those numbers, 25 for 131, and it's a lot of just improvising and making plays and dodging tacklers and then getting outside, does that count as an A-plus performance from the offensive line, or is that just a special athlete making special plays? So I don't know exactly how to quantify an A-plus effort with offensive line. I do know that with a healthy Castellanos, and you certainly hope he's healthy in Game 1, that running game is going to be unlike anything we've seen around here. Well, since 21, really. With Jordan Travis made more plays with his legs than his arm.
Okay, I was about to say, with 22, they ran the ball much better, but
the
quarterback run game was not as instrumental in 22 as it was in 21.
I feel like I feel like the quarterback run game was what made everything go in 21.
Right, right.
And then to a lesser extent in 22 just because of the threat of
his presence.
Yeah.
All right, so defensively, what would be an A-plus game for the linebackers? Not the defense as a whole, but like what would be a stat line, a score to limit them to, or you'd be like, yeah, man, this. I wonder if we can get what's their average yards on their average 3rd yard distance. Alabama.
3rd down distance.
That would be, I think, maybe the thing, because then you're triggering correctly and you're swarming to the football, and it's probably your linebackers that are hemming things up. I think it's going to be more about these cornerbacks and the safeties matching up against Alabama's receivers, but he asked about linebackers.
What I do like, and I've talked about this before, and I know we'll talk about it ad nauseum in August, is the difference in defense in the sense that you aren't going to necessarily always be putting your corners on an island, because that's a tough deal with Ryan Williams, man. Mm-hmm. But I like that they're going to be playing off a little bit. They're going to be playing zone. They're going to have eyes on the quarterback. So it's not going to be just a bunch of jump balls. And hey, do your best. Try to break it up, or don't interfere. Like it's going to be tougher. I don't think there's just going to be a lot of jump balls down the sideline against that type of defense. And I like that because you're going to have an inexperienced quarterback. That is a great shall I say, security blanket for an inexperienced quarterback to just throw it up downfield to a really good wide receiver. That's one-on-one because you assume he's going to go make a play. Well, if he doesn't have a lot of one-on-one downfield opportunities and he's got to, fit it in a window, throw it in the middle of the field, that's where I think you can make your hay as a defense. So I do like their chances a little bit better even than last year, even though you had Azaria and Fintrell, is because I just don't think you're going to be in that kind of defense as much. It's not going to be so much one-on-one on the outside with a great wide receiver. The corners weren't the problem last year either. But I would say a stat to look at, you brought up the third down distances, maybe what percentage of runs are 5 yards or less. And I don't even know I'm sure football staffs keep those kind of analytical stats. But I think that's the key. That means your linebackers are not they're not breaking containment, even if there's a hole because they push your defensive lineman out of the way, you stop it for a minimal gain. Because I don't think they're going to nickel and dime you down the field. I think what you're worried about is, the 65-yard runs. Yeah. But I would not be afraid of 12 4-yard runs. I'm more afraid of the 165-yard run. So if you can keep them to 5 yards or less on most of their runs, that's a stat that I will want to track and see how you do. I also don't know. I'm going to go ahead and assume, everyone, that Alabama has talented running backs. But I don't know who they are.
They really don't, man.
Jahmyr Gibbs isn't there anymore, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Trent Richardson and Mark Ingram are both gone, too. And Derrick Henry, no longer there.
Correct. Najee Harris not there as well.
Right. I'll be honest, man. Alabama's had a pretty good run at running backs.
Yeah. I think Justice Haynes is probably tabbed as being their top running back because I think he's transferring in from Michigan, if I'm not mistaken here. But yeah, no one's got. They're not of that ilk of the guys that you just mentioned. So, not that.
So the special they have is Ryan Williams.
Yes.
And that's a great special to have, man. He's very, very talented, although it's been documented how he fell off a lot the second half of the season, but I think he's just worn down because he was kind of, tiny. Yeah, he's slight. That's a better way to put it. That's their special is that dude. And they're going to get him the ball as many ways as they possibly can. And
their left tackle. I mean, I know he's not a playmaker, but he's 6'7" and 350 and a dancing bear.
Not scared of him. Don't care.
It's him and James Williams. We'll see how it all works out.
Absolutely.
All right, we got football out of the way. The big story, though, is baseball, I think. We got questions about baseball, but before we get to those, which are going to be generating discussion, Corey Clark, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give away some free swag since we are now in the month of June. Time to look back and reflect on what we did last month with our weekly winners in the generating discussion sparked by Cummins franchise we got going on here. The folks that we have up for grabs for a Cummins gift bag are Nole Dynasty, Nole _ Dynasty, Nole 98 Nation, JW9, Rocket 89. How many times should I hit shuffle, Corey?
3.
3.
All right.
Boom.
There we go.
The wheel is spinning. 4 people enter. 1 walks away, a bigger winner than usual.
J-Dub.
That'd be J-Dub. Look at the confetti. Hear the music. Feel it. Feel it, everybody. Shout out to our guy, J-Dub. Congrats to him. All right, the question of the week, Corey.
What does J-Dub get?
J-Dub's going to get a gift bag from Cummins.
Okay, nice.
Hats, T-shirt, portable power bank.
Signed photo of you.
And you. Both
right.
of us. 8x10 glossy. We go to our guy, Westy. Westy says, love the show. It's my first post on the Renegade Express. Actually, Corey, if you don't mind, can you give me a little energy?
One of these, or you wanted me to talk louder?
Just push the
button. Yeah, push the button. Got it.
Love it, everybody. It is generating discussion. It is sparked by Cummins. Give them a follow on Instagram, everybody. Just one word, Cummins Lifestyle. Check out all the awesome things, again, you can do in your recreational activities when you have portable power. You need it. You think you don't, but trust us, you do. Westy says, Corey, love the show. It's my first post on the Renegade Express. I actually met Corey and Jeff at Corner Pocket. I was one of the 2 brothers with Duck Dynasty beards while I was in town for the Georgia Tech game back in 2022.
Okay. All right. Old school.
Yeah. I am originally from Tallahassee. I currently live in Virginia Beach. Which, speaking of Virginia Beach, you feel like I almost have this plan, and I don't, but it's been in the front of my mind here, Corey. So our guy Gator Kirk sent me this cool Virginia license plate, and he also sent me a handwritten letter wishing and hoping that I'm doing well.
Oh.
And I don't know if you guys can see this thing at the bottom. You really can't, but it's a sticker of a gator. And he says, I included the sticker to put on the pillar until I can sign it if I'm still eligible for the honor. Now, I don't know how I feel about putting he's going to sign it Gator.
Yeah.
Right? Is that better or worse than actually putting a Gator on it?
We love Gator Kirk. Hopefully he'll get to sign it, but we cannot put a Gator sticker on that.
Okay.
The other pillars would revolt.
Yeah.
They'd want their names off it. So sorry, Gator Kirk, but that's very nice. It's very nice that he sent you that and sent you a letter.
Okay, so the question is, do we start Vellini Friday based on his limited use? Do we go with Arnold since he is our best shot at winning the all-important first game? Appreciate the work you guys do, rather. Corey, so I want like a hot take on the baseball message board, and we're going to talk to Link, I think, later today and get some clarity on this. But I'm of the opinion, I don't think Florida State has enough pitching to beat a talented team over the course of 3 games. This almost needs to be looked at as we got to go there, win 2 games, get on an airplane, and get the hell out of there. As such, I think they should go with Vellini on Friday. I realize how important game 1 is, but I think Jamie Arnold on only 5 days of rest, and his last 2 starts, he's had 7 full days of rest before his starts, Corey.
Yeah.
I don't think you get the full Jamie on Friday, and if you don't get 6, 7 strong innings out of Jamie Arnold in one of these games, I don't really know what kind of chance you have. So I think here's my 2 options, Corey. I think you go Vellini, Wes Mendez on Friday. I know Mendez is only going to have 4 days of rest, but we just need 2-3 innings out of Wes, 6-9 outs. And then Chris Kinnear, Payne Prescott, Joe Charles, 2 of those 3, right? So give me 2 of those bullpen arms. Give me Joey and Wes to get through Friday. And then we throw Jamie on Saturday, whichever one of those other bullpen arms we didn't use, and then maybe like John Abraham. Or we give the whole world to Joey on Friday, every bullpen arm, John Abraham, and we just rely on Jamie and Wes for Saturday. Can you operate under that at all, or do you need to think about 3 games and who you would throw on a Sunday if necessary?
Look, I'm of the opinion that Vellini should start on Friday too. We'll see what Link says, because I think you're right. I don't think you're getting the full Jamie Arnold experience, and that's bared out this season when he's pitched on short rest. He has not been as good as when he's had rest, and I'd want him to have a normal full week. He pitched on Saturday against Mississippi State, had what I thought was probably his most dominant game of the year, looked like Jamie Arnold again. I would have him for Saturday. And then I have Mendez with a full week's rest on Sunday. So the risk you run is you're falling behind 1-0 because you're pitching easily right now, as we're talking in early June, your 3rd worst starting pitcher in game 1. But I don't know if you're going to – like you pitching Jamie Arnold on 5 days rest, and he's not that effective, and he gives you 5 innings and 4 runs. Well, now he's burned for the weekend. You probably don't win game 1 anyway with those numbers. And now it's up to Mendez and Vellini to win both games. So, because you're down in a 1-0 hole, I think the way you look at it is try to steal game 1 with Vellini. Maybe Vellini gives you a good option. He pitched 30 pitches. And he's been good this year at times. It's not like you're throwing out some kid that hasn't gotten people out. He's gotten good teams out. He's pitched really well at times. And you just hope that you find that Vellini. And if you don't, you almost punt game 1. And then it's like your backs are up against the wall, granted, but your backs are up against the wall with your 2 best starting pitchers going back to back. So it's a 3-game series. You can lose the first game and still come back and win. It becomes harder, but I just think your best case scenario is having your 2 best pitchers on a week's rest. And I would say this, because you brought it up. What if Arnold gives you 7 innings and you're up 4-2? Mm-hmm. And Joe Charles pitched the first game. You somehow you win the first game 8-6, and Joe Charles closed it out with 3 innings. Mm-hmm. Now the second game, you're up 4-2, and you got to get 6 more outs. And Arnold's at 110 pitches. He's done. Maybe Wes Mendez is coming in to close it out.
Yes.
And you're like, you know what? Yes. We're not even waiting until game 3. We've got a chance to punch our ticket right now. We're taking our chance right now. It might blow up in your face, but you take your chance to win the Super when you get your chance, and I think that could be on the table. I mean, we saw Tennessee do it with their top 5 pick. Doyle came in and pitched the final 2 2/3 innings against Wake Forest to get them there on 2 days rest. Like, you can make adjustments, and you can make a starter a reliever if it gets you to the next round, and that I think that would be on the table too.
Yeah, so it sounds like in your mind, if Mendez isn't used on Sunday, Saturdays is the more likely, more palatable option than throwing him on Friday.
So I would not throw Mendez on Friday. Not on that's what is that? He pitched on Sunday. So that's 4 days rest, and he's had to go across the country. He hasn't done that all season. He threw a career high in innings and pitches. I think pitches anyway. No, I would not do that. There's no way I would do that. I think it's either Vellini or Arnold, and I think it's probably Vellini. And look, man. Again, you're not throwing a kid out there that hasn't done well. He was second team All ACC. He has not been good lately. Odds are, because of the way it's looked, he won't be great on Friday. But there's a chance he will be. And if he is, okay, now you're up 1-0, and you only got to win one of the next 2, and you've got Jamie Arnold going up next. So I would go with Vellini there.
All right, we'll find out. See how it all shakes out when we speak to Link Jarrett, we think, later today.
Let's hope.
In the meantime, check out Instagram. Generating discussion. Cummins Lifestyle, all one word over there. Give them a follow. That's all we ask. When you get out of work today, maybe think about heading up to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for an ice cold beverage, adult variety, or maybe some delicious food, perhaps even the Corey wrap. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com. That's the website. Lunch specials daily, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Comes with a side dish of your choice. They all slap, as the kids would say. And don't forget, there's happy hour going down every single weekday, 4 to 7 p.m. That'll get you at least an inning and change. 2 innings on Friday as Florida State starts their game. I think 6 o'clock against Oregon State, which that's bizarre. Like 6 o'clock Eastern time. So 3 o'clock local out there. Trivia on Tuesday nights, Thursday night bingo, live music on Fridays. Apparently open dart tournament on Saturday nights oftentimes, Corey. Those start at 8 o'clock.
I don't ever participate, but yeah, they have a lot of dart boards, and they are utilized on Saturday nights a lot. So it's a good place. If you're into darts, that's a good place to go. Dare I say it's a better dart bar than it is a billiards bar. So forget the name. Darts are there's plenty. There's like 15 dart boards. Yeah. So that's where you want to. You're really there to watch TV, drink, be social, and eat good food. But if you're there for other activities, darts is probably your best bet.
Should he call it Bullseyes? Should we rename it?
No. You can't now. It's an iconic brand.
You're right.
You can't rename it now. And you usually ask me, Aslan, but you didn't this time, weirdly. But, yes, if you're wanting to know, Corey Clark's trivia team did win on Tuesday night. Had one of our best rounds ever, and feeling good, flying high. And without Stephanie, because she was out of town. But we won it in honor of her.
All right. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway.
An iconic brand.
We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it. Take it. Dalvinism. Wake up. Miles Bailey has been so much fun to watch this season, and I think he's creeping up the list of most exciting FSU freshmen ever. What would be your list, including all sports, of top 5 most exciting FSU freshmen? Not necessarily most talented or pro-ready, just the ones that had you on the edge of your seat every time they were playing.
Top 5? Let's limit it. It can't be redshirt freshmen.
Ooh.
So then you can't use Jameis. Warwick Dunn. You know what? Tamarick Vanover.
Yes.
Kind of lost in the
Correct.
dynasty a little bit, and he didn't have a great second year. He only played 2 years, which was a mistake. He went to the CFL early when he should have stayed for another year at Florida State. In his second year, I think he came in a little bit overweight. That's the year they won the national championship, and he still was good, but he wasn't. He was a Heisman candidate going into 93 because he was so electric in 92 as a freshman. I think he had 2 kick returns for touchdowns, 2 more against Florida that went over 70 yards. He had reverses for touchdowns, jump balls for. He was just incredible as a true freshman. So he definitely makes the list. Now
I
you
like
go.
that. I don't have anything, man. I'm
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, sorry. Because you take off the redshirt freshman thing. I'm trying to think like true freshman.
Jonathan Isaac?
Okay. I like that.
You know, the thing with him, he was never going to score 38 in a game, but he was so impactful on both sides of the court and so good. Good shooter, great teammate, great defender. I would put him up there. I want to kind of say Patrick Williams too. But he was a sixth man, but he was really exciting at times in that game. It's just his demeanor. He never smiled, never shrugged, didn't look like he ever talked. But Isaac, Isaac was really fun to watch his freshman season. He was really good.
Did P-Dub give us any flashes as a true freshman?
No, he only played a couple games and got redshirted. Randy Moss during the practices
too soon.
I know, you're right, but he was. I bet he was pretty good on the practice fields. Baseball.
Well, how about Issa Torres? Let's be prisoner of the moment.
No, but Beecham was the better freshman.
Well, Torres is freshman team All-American.
Yeah, but Beecham was the freshman of the year in the country last year. So if we want to go with her, we could go with her. I mean, she was Jessica Warren was great as a freshman too. Beecham, sure. Prisoner of the moment is like, golly, she tailed off so much the second half of her sophomore year. I'm trying to think of baseball. Bailey might be it, man. Because JD was very good, obviously, but JD really kind of caught fire in Omaha, which is a good place to catch fire. Hit a walk-off, had a game with 3 home runs, a game they lost, of course. He hit 3 home runs, and Minkiewicz hit 2, and they somehow lost the game. But I think Bailey, it's not just the numbers, because the numbers, there's plenty of freshmen that have put up numbers similar to that. Maybe not plenty, but enough. It's the impact of the ball when it hits the bat is unlike anything I've ever seen from a Florida State baseball player consistently. And I was here for Buster. Buster didn't hit him this far, this consistently. He got more barrels. That's why they called him Buster Barrels. They didn't. That would have been a good nickname, though. I guess you don't need a nickname when you've already got Buster. But I think Bailey is right up there. Chase Williams, too. He's a redshirt. I guess he doesn't technically count as a true freshman. But Miles Bailey, because of how far he hits the ball, the approach at the plate where he's willing to work a walk, he leads the team in walks, I think, by a pretty good margin. It's just really exciting.
Hey, I've got nothing, man. I was going to say Leon against, but that was, it was like the last game of the regular season before he really got to kind of show out.
So Dion had a 100-yard interception return against Tulsa his freshman year, which is a record that can't be broken, everyone. And then he had a punt return for a touchdown against Florida. They lost badly, but he had one of the 2 touchdowns in that game. So I guess he would count 2. I don't know. He's a corner, though. What about Rashad?
Edge of your seat,
for Rashad?
Though. We're on the edge of our seats for Rashad.
Greg Reed? T-Buck. You know what? T-Buck. That's T-Buck even over Dion. Because T-Buck did the fake fair catch against Syracuse, but even before that, he had shown he was a ridiculous punt returner, like just a really, really fun punt returner. And he instantly became my favorite player on that team because of the way he returned punts. So I'm going to say T-Buck. He was very, very exciting.
Trying to look up. I'm trying to go old school for the old heads listening to the pod. Ron Sellers, man. Caught 55 passes in 1966.
Yeah, but he was a sophomore because they didn't let freshmen play back then.
Thanks, Corey.
Sorry.
Next up, our guy Mark down in Naples. Just a comment. Looks like, wake up. I trust that you boys had fun compiling and completing your top 40 list and made Gene's deadline for submission. Did you make it under the gun, Corey?
I did. It really helped. I talked about this on headlines. It really helped the what do you call it? The Microsoft the
Excel.
The spreadsheet.
Yeah,
that really helped because I could. And I told this story. The kid from Houston,
Jeremiah Wilson.
I saw him on everybody's list, and I had no idea who it was.
Nice.
I was legitimately like, "Who in the world is Jeremiah Wilson?" And then I Googled Jeremiah Wilson FSU, and then immediately saw Houston. I'm like, oh, that's right. But these spring transfers, they don't hit like the ones right after the season do. So he was completely out of my mind, and I actually had to go back and move a few people down so I could get Jeremiah Wilson in the right place. But yeah, I did get it under the deadline, but it did help to see everybody else's picks. Not that I cheated, not that I just copied Ira's and put it as mine, but it was a nice starting off point.
I think I was the first one in there, so I'm just going to – everybody drafted off of me. Shout out to Gene for setting that up that way, though.
I'll also be honest, Florida State didn't put out their new roster until Tuesday. So when I'm trying to do it on Monday, Cromall's not on there. Jeremiah Wilson's not on there. So I'm like, I don't know. I didn't have the real roster to look at. So that didn't help either.
Okay. Let's see here. Given the crapshoot of trying to predict a top 40 for a brand new roster, following a 2-10 season, how about a contest for Warchant subscribers to submit the best and most accurate top 40? Prize can be an honorary press badge for the October 11th home game versus Pitt, or a coupon for a Corey wrap and register sausage bites at Corner Pocket. We'll know after the October 4th Miami game who can play FSU caliber football and who cannot, right?
Yeah. It's a good idea. We could open it up to the masses. We should. Although I don't. Kind of sets us up for failure, right? If like 100 people have better top 40s than we do.
Well, that's 100 people. Well, there's 100. There's of thousands, though, right? There's only 6 of us doing this, So it's tough.
You're right. You're right.
It's all about throwing numbers at it or whatever. Yeah, I don't know if after the Miami game. I think after the Virginia game, right? Because the Alabama game if it doesn't go well, we'll be like, well, hey, it's game 1. Let's not get too carried away. But then we're not going to know what they really are made of because they have FCS teams and a bye week sandwiched in there. But I feel like Virginia Friday night, not the most difficult of circumstances, but that would probably let us know just what to expect from what they're going to do against Miami, and then obviously the month of November, which is relatively treacherous for an ACC schedule.
Isn't it Virginia then at Stanford, or is it Virginia Miami then at Stanford?
Stanford's later on. I think Stanford's the last game in October before they go into their death march in November.
I always think Stanford is earlier in the season.
It's the 18th of October, bye week on the 25th, and then November 1st, home against Wake.
Well, Stanford you would definitely know by then.
Oh, you were saying by the Miami game.
Yeah. It's odd because it's
after the Miami game, rather.
It really is hard. There won't be a ton to take away from the Alabama game, good or bad, when it's the first game and it's against that type of opponent. It does not mean your season's going to go off the rails. It also doesn't mean if you play well, see Notre Dame in 2021, that you're all of a sudden you got everything figured out. These season openers are their own entities, and they don't necessarily mean what's going. They don't give you a great indicator all the time of what the season's going to be.
I don't know, Corey. I think 21's the anomaly, man, and that was because you almost if Jordan doesn't get hurt and finishes out that Notre Dame game, and then Mackenzie Milton's not even an option, you probably end up having a season that is commensurate with the way you played against Notre Dame, but everything went off the rails after he got hurt, and then Mackenzie comes in, and then he starts against Jacksonville State.
Well, no, but it didn't go off the reason they went to overtime against Notre Dame and everybody felt good was because of Mackenzie Milton.
But not to say that Jordan wouldn't have been able to put them in that situation, but
maybe not.
Mackenzie made some plays for sure.
Yeah, but they were up 38. I mean, they were down 11. It wasn't like they were down 30. Jordan Travis's last throw had been a touchdown, and then he had the scramble, and then he got knocked out of the game. But that might be
20, they lost to Georgia Tech, and there was a pretty gross season. 2022, I'm not going to count Duquesne, but they went up against LSU and kind of got, if you want to call it, lucky.
But it's this opener. That's what I'm saying. Like, LSU wasn't the opener. So
23 was the opener, and you kicked their ass, and you were pretty awesome. 24 was against Georgia Tech, a fairly average ACC team, and they pushed you around, and that's kind of the way the season played out.
But you would also say that Florida State's best game of the season was in Ireland.
It was maybe the best half of football, the first half. I don't think.
It's obviously clearly it's not a lot to choose from. But if they'd have played that Georgia Tech team in the end of November, they would have lost by 35 points. They took them to the last second field goal in that game. Like literally when you and that's I'm not you don't beat your chest about this, but the best Florida State played, the most competitive they played against a decent team was in Ireland, which is disgusting, but that's the truth. But I think when you look at these season openers are always when you're playing not a Duquesne, but when you're playing in Alabama, I don't know that there's a ton to take away from it. I don't think what happens August 30th dictates what you're going to be in November necessarily. And I absolutely don't think those 2 games in the middle do anything. They give you some confidence. You're going to score some points. I'm talking about in the middle of September. So you're going to have at least 2 wins. But that Virginia game and then that Miami game, those are the 2 where you've settled into a season. And now you kind of know what you are. You have the rhythms of a season. And you know, okay, this kid isn't good enough. This kid's much better than we thought. I think that will all be known. Yeah, I guess Miami's probably the right answer. Because Virginia, it's like, yeah, you'll know. You could say you know by Virginia, but that's even a weird game. You've basically had a month off. You know, you practiced for that whole month, but you've had a month off. You've had a bye week and 2 cupcakes, and then you go to a Friday night game on the road. So it's an odd start to the season. It's not an impossible one by any means. It's just an odd start.
BG Walker Jr. 24. Hey guys, longtime listener. Last week I posted a question about the ridiculous Notre Dame situation and their access to the CFP. Thanks so much to you two for talking about it and explaining it. I get the feeling that the powers that be would only listen to you guys. You could clean up this mess that college athletics has become.
Yeah.
Amen,
yep,
brother.
Absolutely.
2-parter. First, when will they do away with the dumb rule that each team in baseball or softball regionals has to be the home team at least once? If you want to host or be the home side, play better in the regular season, improve your seed. I still don't even know what the exact rule on that is. Like I don't know if everyone has to be home team for one game, but it almost seemingly works out that way to where Florida State was the away team, I think, in the first game they played against, or was it against Bethune?
They were the home team. They were the home team on Saturday, and they were the away team on Sunday. Right. So the rule is if you play a team twice in a regional, if you were the home team the first time you played them, you're automatically the away team the next time. Is my understanding. And then the third one I think is a coin toss.
Something about whoever has the least amount of home game or teams as the home team then becomes the home team. I feel like.
Yeah, sure, but it usually works out that like Florida State and Mississippi State have both been the home team the same number of times.
Right.
So, and Florida State was the home team the last time they played Mississippi State. So now this time they have to be the road team. It is absolutely stupid. It is literally, I think, the stupidest rule in. I genuinely think this. I think it might be the stupidest rule in NCAA. It makes no sense. Nobody's clamoring for it. If Florida State was the home team for every game in its own regional, no coach would be at the podium saying, "Can you believe this atrocity? Can you believe how unfair it is that we had to be the visiting team at Dick Howser Stadium?" Nobody would be saying that. Them the rules, man. Them the breaks. When the Braves play in Philadelphia, they don't get to be the home team. Philadelphia earned home field advantage. And I know those are different because you do play a couple games in Atlanta and 3 in Philadelphia, but or 4-3, whatever, depending on the size of the series. But man, it's preposterous. It's I can't even fathom why it was put in place at all. Like, why in the world would Wright State, who's the 4 seed, get to be the home team against Vanderbilt, who is the number 1 overall seed in the country? What possible sense does that make? And it's not that big a deal because each team gets 9 at-bats, each team gets 9 turns in the field. But anybody that knows baseball knows it's a little bit of a deal. You always want to be the home team. You just do. You always have a little bit. You have a fraction of a percentage chance better winning when you're the home team. So it makes no sense to make Florida State the visiting team in its own regional. But I can tell you it's been going on forever because David Ross hit that walk-off home run for Auburn at Dick Howser Stadium, a walk-off, and that was 1997.
Well,
so it's at least been going on for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, Mississippi State hit the walk-off in 18, so they were the...
Yeah, and Arkansas did it in 09. Idiocy.
Yeah. You shouldn't be able to get walked off in your own home park.
I don't understand the reasoning for it. Are they saying it's not fair that, like, Northeastern doesn't get to be the home team as much as Florida State? You're not hosting the regional. You didn't earn the right to Mississippi State. I'm sorry. You finished 10th in the SEC. You don't get to be the home team against Florida State. It should always be, whoever the higher seeded team is gets to be the home team. Because you earned it. Otherwise, what the F is the seeding for? And I think what's crazy to me is I'm almost certain, and I shouldn't say almost certain because I'm literally not certain at all. I'm not even close to certain. That if Mississippi State had won Sunday night, the home team for Game 3 would be determined by a coin flip. Not, hey, you know what? It is Florida State's home park. They are the 1 seed. They did have the better season, and each team has both had a home game. So clearly it should be Florida State that's the home team for this final, for the Game 3. No, let's flip a coin. It's so dumb. But nothing's going to change. Why would it?
What about Supers? Are we going to be the home team on Saturday? Or is it always, I can't remember like what it was.
No, they do it in Supers too. It's Supers. They do it in Supers. It's utter stupidity. And that's what I'm saying that right now, folks. It is absolute insanity that Florida State will be the home team in Game 2 on Saturday. Oregon State, if you want to say so, I know you're splitting hairs, earned the top 8 national seed. They're number 8. You're number 9. They earned the higher seed. They should be the home team for all 3 games.
Hopefully it's only going to be 2, though. Hopefully.
That's right.
It's only going to be 2. Second part of his question. Sorry, I almost went to commercial break. Other question, house settlement. I've kept up a little bit, but not dwelled too much on it. Isn't it a $2.8 billion settlement with the NCAA? Yes, that's correct. The NCAA is paying out all that money. The $2.8 billion coming from the NCAA's coffers, which ultimately came from the hard work of our student athletes, but I digress. I get the $20.5 million the schools will be able to pay their athletes with that settlement. Is that just a one-time thing due to the settlement, or will there be an every year thing? And if so, where does the money come from? TV contracts or what? Keep doing an amazing job. I travel for a living and spend a lot of time driving and love when I see a new show. Well, you're going to get another one tomorrow, buddy, so buckle up.
There we go. Yep, nice.
Yeah, so the money's going to be coming from the TV revenue. So this is not a one-time thing. Under the house settlement, this is going to be the new norm. I assume, Corey, it's going to be some kind of, it's probably going to go up as a TV goes up as well. It's some sort of percentage of that money is going to go towards your quote-unquote salary cap, if you will, or what you have available to pay your student athletes. But yeah, the money that's going to get paid out to the house settlement, which I think it affects players of yesteryear, like the Ed O'Bannons and all these people that, he wasn't on this case, but it's the former players that are part of like a class action suit, rather. Like that settlement is coming from the NCAA in Indianapolis, $2.8 billion to atone for their sins of the past. And then now moving forward, we're going to pay all these student athletes from a pool of money from the television revenue mainly. I don't know if it's solely television revenue, but I know it is a huge line share, if not all of it.
I almost think, and I appreciate the question, I understand the question, it is on everybody's mind. I almost think we should ban talking about it until it actually becomes a thing. This thing was supposed to be done in April. We're now in June. We keep being told it's imminent. We are now in June. So if it becomes a reality, let's talk about it then. Because the longer it goes, it's like the Darrell Jackson thing. In 2023, the longer he hasn't been approved to be eligible, well, you start worrying he's going to be ineligible. So now I'm of the opinion that it's like 50-50 this thing ever happens. Prove me wrong, but good grief. It's June 5th, and we still don't have any clarity on this thing and when it's going to be done. So,
by the way,
good question, though. Good question.
No.
I'm not trying to be dismissive of it. It's just it's hard to talk about because it's still a hypothetical, man. And I'm that particular hypothetical, I'm tired of talking about or thinking about. It needs to become a reality or go away.
We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Marlon Joker, our guy Marlon. What's up, Marlon? What's going down in Miami? Hope everything's well. He's a big fan of the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Whenever he's in town, he's always in there.
Yeah, that's his spot. Smart guy.
Yeah. If Paul Finebaum is in the transfer portal, would and should the ACC make him an offer and bring him in to do the same thing for the ACC? I love the show as always.
No, because there's too much history there. And there'd be too much backlash for that particular person. One of the mistakes they made, the ACC, and I don't even know if you could have figured this out, is they never got their own Finebaum. They didn't try,
though.
That's what I'm saying. They never even tried to do it. Yeah. And I don't know if there was one to get. Maybe me. But then I make fun of half the ACC too, so I probably wouldn't have been the best person to get. But I think Finebaum would be, it'd be disingenuous because he's talked noise about the ACC for years and he's hyped up the SEC for his whole life, literally. So I don't think you would go get him because it wouldn't move the needle because people would hate him. And if he started changing his tune and saying how great the ACC was, it would come off as completely disingenuous. Maybe David Hale.
What if he sold out on the SEC? It's like politics. Whenever somebody from the other team disagrees with that team, and you're the opposing side, you're like, "Yeah, see, I like that guy after all, or I like that lady because she's eating her own." So it'd be like, "Yeah, Finebaum came over to the ACC network, but was propping us up and then talking bad about the SEC." I think it would go over well, but I don't think we have the level of. There's not enough Florida State fan bases in the ACC to feed that ecosystem that he.
But
needs
also,
to
when a politician switches from Republican to Democrat, do you ever feel that person is being sincere?
Right. Oh
no.
yeah, no.
Of course you don't. Right. So you wouldn't. It's like, oh, they're just trying to they're trying to be elected, or they're going with the shifting winds. They don't believe in anything. Anything they've been saying for the last 20 years, they don't believe in. They're just trying to stay elected and stay in power, and now they think their best avenue is to shift to be a Republican or shift to be a Democrat, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you don't believe what they're saying. Nobody would believe Finebaum if he was up there piping up the ACC. But it doesn't matter because we're not going to be in the ACC for much longer anyway, right?
I don't know, Corey. I'd rather talk about the House settlement more than that.
Yeah,
probably.
I gotcha.
All right, last one for the day. Again, another jam-packed show coming to you folks tomorrow on a Friday. That's right. We go to Turd Ferguson 904.
Nice.
Hey, fellas. Just got done watching Season 2 of The Rehearsal. It's a show on HBO where comedian Nathan Fielder becomes a legitimate 737 pilot specifically for the purpose of making aforementioned show. If you haven't seen it, it's a really interesting show, and I'm sure you'll hear about it soon from someone you know. It's been very popular, I feel like, or it's been out there.
Yeah.
As an airline pilot myself, it was fascinating to see how, with enough dedication and God-given skill, parenthetically he adds, someone can will their way into such an impressive position. It got me thinking of all of the people who wished they could have played football or other sports at a high level or higher level, but either didn't give it their all or simply didn't win the genetic lottery. If you had to go back and do high school again, at which position do you think you would have had the absolute best chance of making it to the next level, considering your physical makeup and skills, if you were to make that your only focus for 4 years? Doesn't have to be football, but come on, who wouldn't love to picture you two wearing leather helmets, that is?
Right, yeah. I'm not quite old enough that it's pre-integration. With that said, I would stick with baseball because I don't think there's a position on a football field that I would be good enough to be a high-level athlete. Because football, I think you absolutely need some
genetic lottery
stuff, yeah. To be a high-level football player, especially when you're 5'9", like I am. Like, what positions can I play at 5'9"?
Receiver, slot receiver. You've been Wes Welker before Wes Welker. Right. They've been like Corey Clark. We got our own Corey. We need a Corey Clark.
Slot receiver, corner, are running back. That's about it, right?
Special
there's no
teams
5'9",
demon, maybe
there's
a
no 5'9" offensive lineman. There's no 5'9" safeties. Certainly no 5'9", maybe a linebacker. But
Shout
I didn't.
out Buster Davis.
Not big enough for that either.
JK.
So I would say I would play second base, and it's kind of the message I'm trying to send to my son, who has more natural ability than I do, and works out more than I did in high school, which is to say he works out because I didn't at all. I literally never lifted a weight in high school.
Crazy.
And I wondered why I couldn't.
I
know. I wonder why I didn't start on my varsity baseball team. It's preposterous. I'm just genuinely mad at myself. It was also 30 years ago. People didn't know how important it was, which is also stupid. But that's what I'm trying to teach him. Is like, man, you're 5'9". You're going to be 5'9". I think he's close to 5'9" now. 165 pounds. He's pretty fast. He's strong for his size, but he's not strong. Does that make sense? Like,
right.
The kids he's trying to compete with to be a starting center fielder or starting outfielder at a college level, not D1, but just any college, they're going to be probably 6 foot or 6'1". They're going to have a little more natural ability running, or they're going to have a little more natural strength. But you can outwork them to the point where you're on even footing with them or a little bit above. And then you do have a real chance. And they won't just judge you on your size. So that's the kind of message that I want him to understand is if you put in the work, you can turn a 4.8 40 into a 4.55 40 or a 4.6 40. I wholly believe that. You can go from a kid, he's benching like 200 pounds right now. By this time next year, he could bench 260 or 300. I don't know. Like, there's no limit if you push yourself. That said, I'll never be an airline pilot, if that was the question. I'm never going to be an airline pilot, but I did hear a lot about that show, and it sounds like it's completely off the rails.
Yeah. I think swimming, for me, probably if I was a swimmer. I think probably swimmer.
Oh, all right. You do have the body for it.
Honestly, I think I could have been a really good baseball player if I would have. I never played baseball ever.
Oh.
But I was prodigious with the bat in my hand at the 2013 media day at Jackson Preparatory School in Jackson, Mississippi. I went yard. First swing of the bat.
Okay.
It was incredible. So I think I could have been a fairly good baseball player had I tried. I think I would have been a good outfield. Like I would have, because I hustled.
Yeah.
In every sport I played. Like I would make up. I was like a smaller version of Brady. I was probably 5'9" senior year of high school, but like jolly, maybe like a $140. I was rail thin. So, I mean, I have to get back in the gym and get back start on the creatine. But I think for some reason I have this weird irrational belief in myself that I could have been a really good baseball player. Also, tangentially, a little bit of a weird thing, long jumper. Okay. I've got good. My vertical's pretty good. I can't dunk or anything though. But I remember I actually did a long jump as a goof, and our high school track coach, Coach Derek, had me do it 2 more times, and he was like, "We practice at 2:30. I'll see you out here at 2:29." And I'm like, "No, I'm going home." I went home.
Yeah.
He wanted me.
You had
to
write some songs. That's an old cut.
Yeah.
It's a deep cut
It is.
Early in the show's
That is
existence. But yeah, you had to go write some songs for some ladies, and but football though, what are you 6'1"?
No chance. I had no chance. I wanted to play football, but you had to have like school level. You had to get a physical done, and you had to have insurance beyond your parents' normal coverage. And my mom and dad were like, absolutely not. Like I was working out with the team and everything, like in the weight room before like spring football. I'm like, I want to do this. I would have gotten absolutely killed. I had no heart. I would have been.
Yeah, I would have never ever survived a practice of football. Never. I thought I was a good quarterback in my backyard. I could just put it anywhere. I could
spin it.
But yeah, I could spin it. Didn't have a great arm, and my hands weren't big enough to throw a real football all that well.
Other than that, though.
Other than that, I was right on. Yeah, maybe a slot receiver. I do have some quicks, or I did have some quicks. And if I'd ever tried to get in shape, I would like to know how fast I could run, because it's been well documented, Aslan, as we finish out the show, that Ira and Rick Jones, who used to work at the Osceola, challenged me, told me I couldn't break 50 in the 40. Couldn't break 5 seconds in the 40. And I'm like, guys, you don't know what you're talking about. I was 33 years old at the time. I was like, and I was in decent shape. I was working out. I'm like, no offense, but y'all wouldn't know what a faster human being can do in their early 30s. And I'm like, there's no way I can't beat Rodney Hudson in a race. I'm just telling you that.
Right.
Yeah, there's
I thought
just
Rodney
no way.
Hill for a second. I'm like, what?
No, there's no way I
Hudson,
could beat.
yeah.
Rodney Hudson, because Rodney Hudson was a lineman at the time, and a good
yeah.
one. It was going to go to the combine. And I'm like, you're telling me you think I can't, because he ran like a 5.1 or a 5.04. You're telling me you don't think I can beat him in a race? He outweighs me by 150 pounds. And so, of course, it ends up with me at Leon High running 40s at 2 in the morning after a night of drinking. And then the next day in between baseball regional games out on the football stadium doing it again. And I was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4.8, like 4.81.
Hell yeah, good for you.
And this was when I was 33. So if I'd actually tried and run when I was 18 and really got into shape and worked at it, I feel like I could have been in the 4.65 neighborhood. I could have been Restrepo. What did he run? Didn't he run like a 6.2? The kid from Miami, like he ran, it was off. The timer stopped. So I think I could have been in that neighborhood as a 40-yard. Yeah, that's crazy. Is that true?
Yeah.
So I was running at 33, drunk, on the Leon High track at 2:30 in the morning, as fast as Restrepo did at the combine. I mean, I wasn't electronically timed, so I need to make that clear. So maybe I wasn't running quite that fast. But either way, I feel like I was faster than I ended up having more natural athletic genes than I thought I did, and that's a regret. That maybe I could have been a 4.6 guy. Maybe I could have been an outfielder that not wowed people, but impressed people with his speed. But instead, I just sat on the bench, and I was occasionally a pinch runner.
There you go, everybody.
That's it. That's the Clark. That's deep dive into Clark sporting lore. As I'm about to turn, what I got, Aslan? I got 9 days left until I turn 50.
Ooh, Flag Day coming up. I didn't realize.
Flag Day's coming up. So as you get to age 50, you start reflecting on your life and what could have been, and now you guys are going to have to sit through my therapy sessions.
We did this thing when I was in Mississippi.
Real quick, Aslan, there was a woman I knew back in Statesboro that I've always wondered where she is and what she's up to.
Okay.
And I'll always regret.
Give me your name off air. I'll find her.
No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully Stephanie or somebody that knows Stephanie was still listening at this point.
But it's like slow time in television sports local wise around February, March before the combine. So I decided to do our own version of the combine because I had good relationships with all the high school coaches. So I went to one high school and we did bench press, like me and the guys in my sports department. We went to another school, did a high jump, or did the vertical jump. Went to another school and did a 40, and made it like in this like fun little package or whatever. And one of the guys actually played NAIA football. The other one was probably a little more athletic than I was. And I'm just like, I just want to be sub 5 on the 40. That's all I want. And I looked and like we filmed this thing legitimately. We had like 4 different camera angles on each event. And I ran a 5.2, and it was heartbreaking. And I looked so bad running it too. Maybe I'll tweet out the video someday.
I don't know about that.
Well, you gotta be self-deprecating every now and then. But like I trained to do the bench. That was the only thing I trained for. I didn't train to do my vertical. I think my vertical was only like 28. And coach was like 30. He's like, any great athlete has a minimum of 30-inch vertical jump, Aslan. And I'm like, all right. And I did. It was like 28 and a half. I'm like, failure.
It's funny though, because I've told Brady probably since he was 9 years old, like you're not blessed with a lot of athletic genes. You're gonna have to work harder than kids. You're not blessed with that kid's speed or that kid's height or whatever. And then Brady, again, I'm not. Lord knows I'm not gassing up my kid. That's not the kind of parent I am where I tell everybody how awesome my kid is. But he has a vertical of like 31. Which is not bad at all.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and he ran like a 6'9", 60 when he was at the Florida State baseball camp. Like he has more athletic genes than I gave him credit for.
Thanks, Shanna.
Well, exactly right. Well, he definitely gets his power from her. And so I wonder, like, I just hope he realizes. I know a lot of parents go through this in every walk of life, not just stupid baseball, but grades. Relationships. Like, you just want your kids to work. Like to see hard work pay off. And I just hope he gets that bug of a work ethic and really working hard to attain a goal. And that's all of our biggest worries sometimes. But a lot of us, we have kids that we think there's something there. We just want them to want it, and we want them to learn how to work for it. And hopefully, I'm airing way too much of Brady's life. Good kid, good student, good athlete. We just always want more for our children, and hopefully he'll take the bull by the horns, as a famous Florida State alum once said in a 1980s movie.
My guy Josh, who played NAIA football, he ran a 5 flat. My guy Ray ran a 5.4. I ran a 5.2.
Oh, so maybe I'm one of the fastest people on earth.
You might be.
I didn't even think that. See, I should have been telling Brady that this whole time. Your dad is one of the fastest people on earth, but I didn't give him that. I didn't give him that info.
Man, my jump out the block was so bad.
Oh, are you watching it?
Yeah.
Oh boy,
it's so bad.
That's the key, man. A quick start.
It is, and I still ran a 5.2, so I think I might have been able to run maybe a sub.
Yeah, you could break 5. You could break 5.
All right, that was a way too long of a show.
We did it, everyone. We did it.
And we got another one coming your way tomorrow as well. Stay connected to warchant.com. It is the ultimate Seminole sports source. Again, students, email us, support@warchant.com from your fsu.edu email. Get a free year membership. No credit card, no strings attached. He's Corey Maslin. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.